Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Cover to Cover. You're here with Mo,
Andrea,
and Morgan.
Happy Friday to everyone out there, but today we want to prep you for the weekend. We want to tell you about whittling down your to-be-read pile, your ever-growing list of book series to complete, and your super disappointment with books that are delayed. But first, we want to tell you about an awesome way that you can help support the victims of the Grenfell Tower fire.
On June 14th, a fire broke out in a residential tower in West Kensington, just west of London. At least 79 people lost their lives, and all inhabitants of the building have been displaced and have lost everything. An online auction has been set up called Authors for Grenfell Tower. The auction runs until June 27th, and all proceeds benefit the British Red Cross as they aid the victims in the aftermath. We'll have a link to that website in our show notes for y'all.
I love that we can come together, and communities can come together, and readers can come together, and writers can come together and support each other in their time of need. So guys, please check out this link at the end of the show. But at this point now, there's another story that we want to share with you where readers are coming together, though in this instance, the police are telling them to stop.
Author Forrest Fenn, who specializes in writing about the American Southwest and Native tribes, is famous for one other reason: buried treasure. In 1988, the wealthy antiques and artifacts dealer was diagnosed with cancer. He decided his final act in life would be to drag a chest of his finest treasures out in the woods and die beside it. Whomever found him would be rich. However, Fenn beat cancer and tucked away his treasure chest for the next few decades. In 2010, he decided it was time to do something crazy, and he drove out to the Rocky Mountains and buried his treasure. He later released his book called The Thrill of the Chase, revealing the treasure and a 24-line poem containing 9 ambiguous clues leading to its location. Many have tried to locate it, and many have failed. In January 2016, a man died while out on the hunt, and the second death has occurred this week in New Mexico. Police are urging Fenn to call off the treasure hunt and make a public statement dismissing it. On Monday, Fenn told the Santa Fe New Mexican newspaper that he has been considering how to make the search safer or cancel it altogether. Though he hasn't made any decisions, he has responded to the deaths, calling them tragic. So what do you guys think? Would you go searching for gold?
So obviously, first of all, very tragic that two people have died in the quest for this.
Yeah.
But their very tragic deaths aside, just looking at the idea of this treasure hunt and the book, The Thrill of the Chase, I am completely obsessed with this. And you were saying that your husband also has been talking about this for a long time?
Yes, he wants to make this our vacation.
Yeah, so he's leaving you and he and I are going on a treasure hunt.
I guess so, and I will sit by a pool and let y'all go do it. No.
Maybe you can send supplies in for us so we don't have to carry all of it.
Yeah, but I can't believe that. Would y'all go out and bury all your stuff? All your money, all your possessions?
I think it's really cool. I
don't have any money to bury. Perhaps if I had millions of dollars of really cool gemstones and gold, I might be inclined to throw somebody a bone with a treasure hunt.
I just wonder if this is always my question. Is it a gimmick?
Yes.
Is there really anything in that treasure chest? Or are you going to go out there, dig it up, find it, however you find it, and open it up and it's just a joke?
How disappointing
that's
would
so
that
sad.
be?
But I mean, it gives people something to live for, something to go out for. I mean, now in this day and age, it's just instant gratification for everything. But this is something you can work for, and that's exciting.
For it. And also for puzzle lovers, because he provided these ambiguous clues, you can sift through the text almost like it's a sacred document and withdraw the information that you need. And then you have to build your own treasure map. And people love maps. There's a whole section of book lovers who buy books just that are maps of their favorite books or books on maps and stuff like that. So I totally see the appeal. I really, really do.
Have you started making your map?
I haven't. This book is definitely going on my nightstand. I will certainly be purchasing this book.
If you crack the code, I want to see a book about that, because that would be really cool.
Yeah, I read this really cool, one of the articles I read about this was these journalists who took 24 months to go on this quest, and they wrote an article about their failed quest for Fenn's gold. So maybe I can live through their dreams and also tag along for that.
Okay, well, this whole thing is crazy, and so maybe I will be dusting off my hiking boots and adding that book to my list and going after the Buried Treasure. But right now we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to discuss your TBR list and how you can sort through the pile and whittle it down. So we'll be right back.
Avid readers know that it can be a struggle getting through your to-be-read pile, and what's worse is the never-growing need to read more amazing books. So if you're purchasing all the books you want to read, that stack can get out of hand fast. The website Book Riot has offered an editorial post on one way to handle the madness. Writer Jessica Plummer follows the inbox-outbox method she has created. She must read 2 books in her to-be-read pile before she can purchase a new book. 2 out for everyone in. To make life easier, she has also created a lot of caveats. Books given as gifts don't count, and rereading books also do not count. So she's practicing the fine art of self-control. So what are some methods that y'all use?
I know for me, there's almost no good method. I think we've talked about this before. I just start reading 5 books at once, and then I just figure out which one I'm most interested in at that moment. So when I go to bed at night, I don't necessarily keep reading the same book throughout the week. I have to have choices. I need them.
Well, I have tried the inbox, outbox. Once you finish one, then you can go get another one. But that doesn't seem to work in my household. And we have books everywhere. And have-read books everywhere. So what I am trying to do is dedicate a certain amount of time for certain books. So for ones that I'm reading for my own edification, for my own, or the self-improvement books or whatever, I dedicate X amount of time, 20 minutes or so, or I have to get through 5 pages. But then for those I love to read, like a new romance novel I can't wait to tell everyone about, I can sit there and read that one all day.
I have no method.
Yeah, there's no method to the madness.
There is no method. Well, okay, if we're talking, the addiction and like having piles and hoarding and all that stuff, that's one thing. But if we're talking about like from an economical standpoint, there's so many things you can do. Like I went to a garage sale last week and got 14 books for like $10. Yeah.
Good books.
So yeah, good books, like really good authors. There was like James Patterson, there was Fitzgerald. There were a lot of great books that I got for like super cheap, and obviously library. Grab a library card.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of those
And it also presents that problem when you have so many books and then you have to move. Like
That's my problem.
then you have to deal with
That's
it.
what drives me crazy.
It's a lot. It's so heavy. There's so many. And then also, do you feel like if you have a bunch of books on your bookshelf that you haven't read, if like a friend comes over and they're like, oh, tell me about this book or this book, and you're like, I actually haven't read any of those 20 books, is that like embarrassing? Or is it like, I'm going to get to those before I die at some point? I don't know when. But yeah, it's a tough call. There really is. There's no good answer to this.
Well, here's what we do in our family. Since we introduced the e-reader, I hope I don't get in trouble this morning, but my husband has kept his library card from other cities we've lived in. So he uses our public library and accesses their ebooks, and then from another library, their ebooks.
Scamming the system.
He is scamming the system. We have our accounts are linked, so he uploads all these books just for me. And then he's found other free websites and apps and what have you to pull books. But I get decision fatigue.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. Like, you wouldn't think it's difficult to decide between 3 books that you have to choose from, but the amount of effort that goes into it, it's an art. There's an art to choosing what book to read next.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's something really interesting about reading book series, though, books that keep going and going, and it really, truly is almost like an addiction.
Yes.
Well, reading is the ultimate escape. We've discussed before how reading is a great stress reducer. It can reduce stress levels by more than 60%, but studies in psychology show that reading can be an addictive cognitive activity. specifically reading fiction. We use words like devouring a book and claim that we read voraciously, and it certainly sounds like an addiction. There's also a mania that arises from popular book series. The Harry Potter series alone is a striking example of mania by fans. Thousands around the world would gather at midnight of the release date to be the first to get the books. So, what do you guys think? Do you think you have an addiction?
Definitely borderline addiction, but I certainly I have been those people at midnight that have to wait to purchase the book so that I can go home and stay up all night and read. What is that for?
That is an addiction. No borderline about it. You are at the Books Anonymous meeting.
Oh my gosh, that's where my people are. That is the meeting I should be at. I love those
We can
people.
share your pain. We can't help you though.
We'll all just like commiserate.
Our group and hi, my name is
We
Morgan.
need it. Hi, I'm Linda, and I'm a book addict.
I am a book addict,
Yes.
and I hide in the corner and underneath the tent to read. And I can't stop. And I'm also one of those people at stoplights reading on my phone, reading my book.
Ooh. You guys
I won't
gotta get the
admit to
audio.
that.
I am one of those people who I've tried to read on treadmills,
Yeah,
Oh, gosh.
that doesn't work well.
walking around in the gym, and then you run into things. Yeah, that's when I get hurt.
So, have you guys been to book release parties or midnight releases? Is this like some sort of mania that you've been a part of at all?
No, because I'm in bed reading.
I know, yeah.
That's fair. It's a really exciting thing to do. I did it for the last 2 or 3 Harry Potter books, and then just recently when Harry Potter and the Cursed Child came out last year, I was able to convince a couple friends and my dear husband to go, and we all miserably sat around saying, oh my gosh, we're 30, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. And we were so tired, but it's just so cool to be around people who are just so pumped to just stand in a line and get a book and play Harry Potter themed games and just talk about Harry Potter.
Did you dress up?
Oh, yes, obviously.
You have like people like starting a Quidditch match.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and they have like Harry Potter different board games and stuff they were like passing around, and they had like craft stations, and
Wow.
they had like a scavenger hunt you could play while you waited for the book to be released.
Cool. Oh, did you
Yeah.
hear about the new Harry Potter escape room?
No
Yes,
way.
only because you told me it's amazing. I'm so excited.
It's in England, I believe, but that is added to my to-do list.
Yes, yeah. So, honey, if you're listening, we're going to London.
Well, one company that can be counted on to keep churning out content for its fans is the Marvel Universe. Marvel has announced its first new issue in an epic new series they are writing called Marvel Legacy. It promises to be an optimum entry point for fans who haven't traditionally read many comics or graphic novels. It will chronicle the first Avengers from the beginning of time all the way up to modern-day Marvel Universe. It will feature story arcs of Marvel's most beloved characters and tie them all together as the series progresses. It will hit the shelves this fall and promises to hold many secrets, mysteries, and revelations for fans. We've talked about graphic novels before, but is this something you would read?
Morgan.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. No, maybe
That's
because
fair.
I just haven't, but no.
That's fair. Well, I also have not been one to read a lot of Marvel comics. All of my Marvel knowledge has been secondhand from my husband or my friends who read it, and then, of course, from the movie franchise they have launched.
Yeah.
But I think this is actually a great jumping on point to get into the graphic novel for it. So I kind of think I will.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've always kind of wanted to be in that world.
Yeah.
But for this to be that entry point, because I've never really known, like there are all these
Where do
people
you
who
jump
know.
in?
Yeah, exactly. Who
Yeah.
knows so much, and so having an entry point is really exciting, and I will definitely be checking that out.
So I want to take a survey to everyone watching. Are you in or are you out? I need to know.
Yeah.
Because I'm
in.
out.
And that's fair. It's definitely not for everyone. And then there's a certain stress that goes along with a series that progresses as quickly as Marvel comics do, because this is just issue 1 launching in the fall. How quickly are the following issues going to come? How expensive are they going to be? Am I going to be able to keep up with it? It's just like a whole new level of anxiety I have to
book
talk
release
about.
parties we'll be going to?
I hope so. Oh my gosh, it's just like a lot to deal with. I don't know. So, speaking of series and the anticipation and the mania that go along with that, George R.R. Martin, who's no stranger to this, has issued an update for his fans on the progress for Winds of Winter, the 6th installment to A Song of Ice and Fire. Martin has said he is tired of the constant hassle for an update. He said, Quote, I do post about Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones whenever there is actual news to report. Do you really want or need weekly Winds of Winter posts saying, still working on it, not done yet, end quote? Martin has released several chapters of the book online, and he has read through more writings of it at Comic-Con and other conventions, but the fans just feel like they're never satisfied with this. And he says, quote, okay, fair enough. The only thing I can give that will satisfy you is the finished book, and that is what I'm trying to deliver, end quote. For reference, the first book, titled Game of Thrones, came out on August 1st, 1996. The last book to come out was A Dance with Dragons, my personal favorite, on July 12th, 2011. 5 total books are in the series currently, with 2 more planned to complete it. Do you guys think that the fans are mean and harassing to Mr. Martin, or do you think that the mania is warranted? That's a long time to be waiting for the completion of a book. There are people that have been waiting since 1996 to get to the end of the series.
George. Man, I mean, he's kind of like that friend who you see after a while, and they're like, oh my gosh, we should totally hang out. And you're like, okay, like, when are we going to hang out? And they're like, I'll call you.
Yeah.
And then you never do.
Yeah.
Don't be that friend. Don't be that guy, George. You're not going to get invited to weddings. You're not going to get invited to parties after that. Like, who wants to be your friend after that? Come on. Release your book. Stop keeping us waiting.
I was sitting here thinking, why is this guy so snarky?
Yeah.
People want to read his stuff.
To be fair, and I'm so torn about this story and this topic in general, because to be fair, I'm really mad at him, and like I wouldn't say like I hate him, but like when I see that he's released other companion stories or something. I was at the airport last year, and I was in the bookshop there, and there was like this George R.R. Martin companion map series to Game of Thrones, and I got legit furious. I was so mad. I texted my friend, and I was like, what is this? Where is the Winds of Winter? Because
yes, again, to my point, you text your friend, and then they don't text you back.
And they can see that you read
that
it.
Story later on, and you see that they're on their phones.
And it says like read 11:13 p.m. and then they just never said anything. But yeah, so to make matters worse, he and for the last 2 years has said at the end of the year, so this year's 2017, so at the end of 2015, he was like, by the end of 2015, the Winds of Winter will be on the shelves. Okay, 2016 rolls around, nothing. And so then he releases more information and he says, by December 2016, you can expect this. So I'm sitting up waiting December 31st, hoping he's going to pull a Beyonce, drop the book at midnight. It's going to be available for everyone. I'm like scrolling through trending news on Twitter. Nothing. Silence. Dead air. And then he waits until, what month is it? It's June. He comes out with an update and he's like, yeah. My bad. I guess I forgot to do that. It's not good enough. And frankly, I'm tired of waiting.
Are we going to go to your release party? No, because you might stand us up.
But I totally will still go if like you release it and you promise to do it. But the other problem with this is that you guys know Game of Thrones is a popular HBO series now, and it's coming up on like its 6th or 7th season. The show is now officially overtaking where the books have left off. So we're going to be learning new information from the show, which is not where we want to get it.
No one wants to be there.
It's very upsetting. How do I really feel? I am very upset, George, if you're listening. But also, like, thank you for all that you've done for us.
I wonder if he has a problem.
I think he has a problem that he gets a lot of money from HBO.
He has writer's block, or
maybe
he can't finish the story.
Maybe
so just say it.
Yeah.
Just go. You can confess to us. We'll have you on the show.
This is a safe space.
Just tell the truth. Ignore everything I just said.
Forget that. We can talk. And we can work this through, and we'll help you get this book out.
So Morgan's like 100% here for you.
Yes.
I am here. We'll
Totally
work on your
neutral.
attitude and the things you say to your fans who will buy your books, but we will help you.
And I guess really the moral of the story is that winter is coming, but the Winds of Winter is not. That's what we've learned today.
Well, in the meantime, while we all wait for this highly anticipated book and other highly anticipated books, guys, there's so much more fiction that you can enjoy. So today, we are so excited that Andrea had an interview with an author about an exciting new book, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about it and how we can actually read it now.
Yes, I sat down with Michael and Rochelle, and he's here to tell you guys about Revenge of the Star Survivors. Thanks, guys. I'm here with Michael Merschel, here to talk about Revenge of the Star Survivors. Michael, tell me a little bit about your book.
I'd be happy to. Thank you for having me. My book is a story of a nerdy kid who shows up at a new school. He has a rough start. He immediately encounters a group of bullies. He encounters a computer that loses all his records. He faces a principal who thinks he's up to something, and he gets beat up by the front door. And that's all in about the first 20 pages. It goes downhill from there. The only way he can cope is through science fiction, and specifically through his favorite TV show, which is called Star Survivors. So he imagines himself as a space explorer trying to make contact with a strange alien culture that he just cannot figure out.
That's great. I understand completely how that goes. I was a new kid about 14 times, and so starting at a new school can be really rough. So this book is teen fiction, correct?
That's right. That's right.
And that's a huge
I like
group.
to think
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I like to think anybody, not just for teenagers, but that's what I was thinking of. That's the group that I was thinking of when I wrote it.
Awesome.
It's an important age. I know it's an age when reading meant an awful lot to me, and for me it was a time when I really connected with books, when I really learned I'd always liked to read, but that's an age when my love of reading really developed.
That's great. We've talked a lot on the show about elementary school students getting connected with books and keeping that connection, just like you said. So awesome. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration for this book.
The original inspiration probably goes back a ways. Like you, I was a new kid at a new school once, and I'd thought for years about writing about it and put the idea on hold for a long time. And then my oldest daughter entered 7th grade. And we were there at orientation night. And it was my first time back in a junior high, probably in 30 years. And it was not the same school that I attended, but it had the same feel. It was about the same age, and it had that same, there's the same cinder block walls with about 30 years of white paint glopped on, and there's echoey talk bouncing off the lockers, and I'm standing outside the gym, and it had that smell that you only get in a junior high gym, and I'm having all these flashbacks, and it's not going well for me. And then from down the hallway comes this group, and I can only describe them as mean girls. They had attitudes, and they had too much makeup, and their hair was crazy, and they were coming right at me. And I said... And I literally jumped back because I was afraid. I said, I don't want to be picked on today. And it took me a minute to catch my breath and say, Mike, you're a grown-up man now. They can't hurt you. And I found out later they were part of a skit that was showing how not to behave in junior high school. But I had the feeling was so strong. I say the damage had been done. I had that feeling, and I thought, if I'm feeling this so strongly after 30 years, maybe there's something I can work with. Maybe there's a story that I can tell that spun out of it. And Revenge of the Star Survivors is what grew out of that moment.
Well, awesome. So tell me, what is your message to readers of this book?
I was trying to do a couple of things. One is I wanted to celebrate the way that nerd culture and being an obsessive fan with something. In this book, it's the TV show Star Survivors and Star Wars, and it's the way that you can bond and unite people. Mm-hmm. More important than that, the reason I wrote it is, Clark, the character in my book, goes through a lot, and he spends a lot of time thinking that he's alone, that he doesn't have anybody, that he's the only one of his kind in the universe. And we're grown up. We know that that's not true, but I wanted to send a message to everybody who's ever gone through something like that, somebody who's ever struggled with anything, to send a message, you're not alone. There is intelligent life in the universe, and you can find it, or maybe it will find you. And that's really what I wanted to say.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and I wish you all the best on your book.
Thank you so very, very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, Michael. So you guys should definitely check his book out. And I know we talked about, taking a book off and then, adding one on, but just add it. It's a really great book. He pulled some really great inspiration from some of the shows that he watched growing up, so like Star Trek. So if you're into any of that stuff, read his book for sure. And he's doing a little tour. He will be in Austin this Saturday at Book People. So if you're in the Texas area, go to Book People at 2 p.m. and you'll find him there. If you're in the Denver area on July 12th, he will be at Tattered Cover. And for all of his homies in Dallas, check him out because he will be coming to you guys really soon with some really awesome tours. And you can find more information about him at Michelle.net, and we'll have that link for you. So definitely grab a copy of his book at the conclusion of this episode because we will be having a flash sale. For 99 cents, you can grab his book. We do that at the conclusion of every episode. So if you guys tune in, you can get some awesome books for just 99 cents.
Okay, but speaking of book series, you guys know that writing sequels can be a tough follow-up gig, especially if the first book was a huge success. Very daunting.
85-year-old author Carl Hare has embarked on a sequel to Homer's The Odyssey. Odysseus is a 550-page epic written in the poetic format of the Odyssey. It is the first in a trilogy that Hare has been working on for decades. He wants to chronicle time from the Odyssey to modern day. So Hare admits that the trilogy won't be for everybody, but it will be for anybody. He feels that the material is a blend of homage and relatable modern-day content. He says that millennials have been very receptive to the story. So what do you guys think about him bringing the Odyssey to modern day?
It's confusing and scary.
I'm just seeing Morgan's faces over here. Like, I can see her from the corner of my eye, like,
I haven't read it, but I just can't imagine the pain he went through to write it.
Yeah, yes. Especially writing in he wrote as like an homage in the poetic narrative of the Odyssey. That alone is a task, but to try to be like, okay, well, the Odyssey was good or whatever, people liked it, I think I'll write the sequel to that. That's a lot. That's a lot to take on, and even just from a reader standpoint, I don't know.
So I'm thinking, take a poll.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Let us know.
Is it crazy? Would you read it? Do you think it's a dumb idea? I mean, from a writer's perspective, it's always good to write about what you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. So if you read something and it inspires you and you have this story in your mind and in your heart, absolutely get it on the page. But oh my gosh, how scary is that? And then it's going to be a trilogy, and he's been working on it for decades. So it's like this long in the making piece of art that he has to just like let out there.
Okay, so now I feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
I feel bad.
We've all got opinions.
Yeah, but now I feel like I need to go look at it and read some of it and really form my opinion.
Yeah,
so
maybe he needs you as his therapist too.
Yes, that's your new calling.
Yes.
Call us up, message us. We'll have you on the show.
Yes.
We'll talk about this and
we'll talk through your writer's block, through all of that.
And what it was like to actually write this. I want to know, how did you do it?
It would be interesting. Maybe we should reach out to him.
I think so.
I think that also it's really cool that it appeals to millennials because there's this whole generation of people that maybe have not read the Odyssey and the Iliad, and so this is a good entryway to say, hey, here's this sort of modern day take / sequel to a thing that's, you know, Western literature's oldest known text or whatever, and people think it's cool. So maybe this is just a great way to get younger people involved in classics.
True.
So that's always a good thing.
And we'll see super cool costumes, hopefully, at Halloween this year.
Yes,
there you go.
Absolutely, bringing it back. We're all about dressing up.
So whether you like it or not, it's out there. Read it, add it to your to-be-read list. Let us know what you think, and or not. So also, it's that time of the show where we remind you, share this post, send us a message, let us know your address and your shirt size and the type of shirt you want, and we will send you one. We have our crew and we have our V-neck, and it basically says, readers are smarter, more fun, and more attractive.
Truth.
Isn't it true?
True. So send us a message and we'll send you one out.
And don't forget about our flash sale for 19 minutes at the conclusion of this episode to get Revenge of the Star Survivors for 99 cents. And we'll have a link to that sale in our comments section for y'all.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Mo.
I'm Andrea.
And I'm Morgan, your therapist.
Your therapist. And we will be back on Monday, June the 26th at 9 a.m. Central Time. Until then, keep reading, writing, and being awesome.
I know we will.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
Bye.